my New York shit. I rep the Giants, Jets, New York Knicks.
First of all, welcome. This is another episode. This is a Knicks version of the Straight from the Block, only on 92.6 WKBP, the spot. I had to do this. I wanted to do this sooner, right after the series with Miami was over, but it is what it is. As long as I could get as many Knicks fans together so we could brainstorm and speak what we really think we should be doing going forward, since we had a successful season. No matter what you think, this was a successful season. If you didn't think this was a successful season for a Knicks fan, you can log off right now, because your ass is going to be miserable for the rest of your fucking life. And I know how miserable us Knicks fans could be, right? I know what it's like, okay? The struggle is real for Knicks fans, okay? The shit has been bad, but this was a successful season. Now, a lot of people want to jump out the window. There's a lot of stuff. So I swear, every Knicks fan I run into got a whole nother scenario in mind of what we should be doing next, which is why I wanted to have this brainstorming session, you know what I'm saying, from all genuine, especially genuine Knicks fans. Not the fair weather when we winning, they like, yeah, New York's back. No, I'm talking about we've been through the struggle, all right? Brooklyn was better than us for a little while. You know what I'm saying? So we've been, it's a struggle when Brooklyn is beating out New York right now. So I'm just glad we finally got over the hump. We had a better season than the Brooklyn Nets. Their whole shit collapsed, went all straight to hell. So I'm happy about all of it. So
I told you that was dead in the water. That wasn't gonna work at all.
Bruh.
Yeah, I have so many thoughts on that team.
No, we're not talking about the Nets. This is all about
I know.
Mr. Bell, let me introduce everybody real. I'm gonna go around. My man Haitian Ferg up in the upper right corner, got the Knicks on fire in the background. I love that shit. You gotta send me that shit ASAP though, okay? we got the older gals, okay? The older gals in the building, all right? Kenny, we got my man KC, aka Get the Man. My man, you know what I mean? Get that man a burger and fries from the Chicken Shack, and we good. And we got Mr. Bell. Mr. Bell, my favorite 5 heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we're gonna do today. We're gonna start with something real simple. We're gonna start it real simple. We're gonna talk about free agency. It's here. The draft is next week, Thursday, right, Ferg?
Yeah.
The draft is next week, Thursday, which means there's going to be a lot of moving and shaking. Mm-hmm. I sent everybody the free agent list, restricted, unrestricted, player options, every version of what it can be, right? Mm-hmm. Now, realistically, how the new CBA is set up, we cannot get everybody. We can't even have really 3 superstars on the team. So we got to do some real fine tuning to the current roster that we have. Bunch of people making a certain amount of money. Out of this list, who you trade for, who you sign free agent wise, and obviously the most important, who the hell we getting rid of, right? I'm dying to hear this because I hear a lot of people speak on specific players. So instead of the back and forth battles that I have with certain guys, I want to hear it as a collective. So you know what? We're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. So Mr. Bell, let's start with you first. All right, we're going to start with you first. Tell me which player is the first person to go off the Knicks as trade bait. And then tell me what 2 players, one you would sign free agent wise and one who we would trade for.
All right. So first of all, if we talk about who we getting rid of, are we talking about in the rotation or out the rotation?
That's a good question.
Well, the out the rotation is pretty obvious, right?
Are we talking organization?
The 2 guys we have to get rid of is Evan Fournier and Derrick Rose. That is not in the rotation. That's very obvious due to money, etc., and not playing and not being in the rotation. So, however, for a lot of the guys that people may or may not want, those out of rotation players have to go, but more than likely, the piece another team's gonna want is somebody from the starting five. So you gotta ask yourself, who we giving up?
All right. So if I'm looking at I'll just go rotation because sometimes this dude is starting, sometimes he's not. Sometimes it seems like the coach just trying to figure out who you gonna play. So I'll start with Grimes. If I'm gonna trade anybody, I'll trade Grimes. And the reason why is because I'm just being real. I've seen Grimes miss too many open threes. It was like a reminder of Starks against Houston. Like, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, you open too many times. You got one job. That's one job. That's it. If you can't do that one job consistently, we're gonna have to get rid of you. So he would be my go.
Okay.
If I brought anybody back, let's be real. We could, okay. If you're gonna go through the East, you're gonna have to deal with that big boy down the road, Embiid. You're gonna have to deal with him. So you're gonna have to truly, really have somebody that's gonna deal with him. I'm sorry, Hartenstein don't do it, and what's his name? Robinson, right? The center. Yeah. The days of just diving to the rim, the Tyson Chandler days are over. Because let's be honest, if we just dealing with the East, okay, you're gonna have to deal with Embiid sooner or later. And if we talk about the ring, you're gonna have to get out there and deal with that boy out west. Because Jokic is a brother's serious problem. Jokic is a Saturday weekend adult league all-star masquerading as an NBA player. Ain't no jump, ain't no hops, nothing. He is going to embarrass you and lay you up all evening long. That's it. And you're going to go home wondering, how did he beat me? And he's got triple doubles all over the place. So you're going to have to deal with him eventually. So you might as well make the team get ready to deal with him. So that being said, the first person I would pick up is Jeremy Grant. And the reason why I say Jeremy is because Jeremy is 6'9". Jeremy has a jumper. Jeremy can play D. And you're going to have to get longer to deal with him because, as you can see, with Miami, I know you said we wasn't going to talk about Miami, but with Miami and the Lakers, if you're not long enough to deal with that big boy, he's going to sit your big man down. And if your big man can't pull him out and make him play defense, y'all going home. So that would be my team, right? My adjustments right there.
Okay, so to be fair, Grimes leaving. Let's say we package Grimes with some picks and one of the out of rotation players. That would have to be a sign and trade, or we would have to outright sign Jeremy Grant, correct?
Right.
He would have to decline. I think he has an option, but he would have to decline. We would have to pick him up straight or free agency.
Right.
And I'm not sure. I'm gonna keep deferring to Ferg because Ferg is the upper management. He's the cap space guy. Ferg knows all the cap space.
Ferg's the cap space guy. All right, Ferg, we good.
So
Ferg watches the budget. I feel you, Ferg.
Is that even doable? Is that even doable financially?
Jeremy Grant, for you to acquire Jeremy Grant, you got to part away with one of your big three contracts for you to bring him in. Because the thing is, for this season, right, with the money we already have committed into next year, getting Fournier and Derrick Rose off only puts us like without having to pay like the tax, if I'm not mistaken. So that's why this year we only have the mid-level exception that we could really use, which is like $12 million.
Right.
So that's why a guy like Jeremy Grant, for you to trade for him, you're moving Julius to bring in Jeremy Grant. That's your, if that's who you want, Julius got to go, because you're not going to bring in Jeremy Grant and then move RJ and then have Grant and Julius. That's not going to work, because you can't play one of those guys at the 3. They both going to want to play at the 4. Right.
So here's the deal, real quick. With Randall, now here's the problem, and everybody is on here has played ball in a tournament somewhere. Everybody, on this. I see. Even no matter how much weight we got on, everybody play ball somewhere, so you're gonna know what I'm about to talk about.
Because I don't have.
You know
I'm not at tournament weight right now.
No, right. But back in the days, you was ready to run full. I got you. So what I'm saying is, you know, when you play the black team,
yeah,
and the black team always press, right? And there's always a dude who can get by you, but got questionable handle, but for some reason he scored.
Mm-hmm.
That's Randall. But you're not going to win a chip with him because the black team never win a chip. But
right.
you hate playing them because they're going to press you all day long.
It's the one team nobody want to play.
Right. Now, can you win a chip with Randall? No. Because he can't get those baskets consistently every time. He's not that dude. He's a third piece. He's like an Aaron Gordon with more offensive skill.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned that. My question is this. Depending on who you bring in. So now let's just say it's not for the first question I want to ask you is this. Given the way the team is constructed right now, how would you say we're constructed 1 through 3? Who's our 1? Who's our 2? Who's our 3? Right
Brunson. Now. Brunson's the 1.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a question on 2 or 3 only because Randall is shaky.
Mm-hmm.
And then RJ is still, I'll give him, he's still developing.
Right.
Even though out those first 3 picks, he's the one that ain't giving no drama. So let's be happy we got RJ because mother is tripping.
Facts. I tell you right now, now we know why Zion hamstring ain't right. It worked.
Look, Casey, anybody that live in New York know, if Zion, for anybody who ever wanted Zion in New York City, that shit is officially a dub. That nigga come up here, the Ice Spices and the Washington Heights bitches is gonna have this nigga fucked up. All right, he ain't gonna never play for the Knicks with the bitches in New York.
Zion would only come here under the stipulation that they reopen Sin City.
Yeah. He will be in there twice a week. With joints.
Twice a week.
He be taking
before
care
and
of
after
joints.
practice. You crazy? Before and after practice.
Okay, wait. Let's not get too far off track, right?
Yeah. All right. That's another show. That's another show.
So I want to just mention this before we go. We're gonna go to Kenny next. Jeremy Grant can play the 3. If the only stipulation to this is that RJ would have to take back off the weight, get his feet right to play the 2. He would have to go to the 2. RJ would have to go to the 2. So it will be Brunson, RJ, Randall, Mitch, right? But the problem is one of those guys got to go, like you said, for that to match up. So I like Jeremy Grant better at the 4 over Randall, and then we figure out the 3 and the 4. However, Jeremy Grant could play the 3 if we could figure something out. I just watching his career, he could easily play the 3. And that would make us just a bigger team. To your point, Ernest, that would make us a bigger, longer team to make up for some defensive deficiencies. But let's move on to Kenny. Tell me who's going, who you want off the list, who you want to sign.
I'll be honest, I've thought about this way too much, and I don't know, because the answer isn't even like a player. It's fucking Tibbs. Because it's like, the thing is like, so it's like, I know Grimes works out with Penny, right? I've seen Grimes take people off the dribble. I know Grimes can shoot, but I don't know what an offense looks like. I don't know, yeah, Mitch is clogging the paint all the time. So RJ doesn't have the lanes that he needs to get to the basket, because he can't shoot. Every time he shoots a 3, I fucking wince, because it's just stop, because Tibbs basically makes him corner bitch. And it's play Obi and fucking Rand. I don't know, there's so many players that we have that I don't know what they are yet, because I don't know what offense looks like. So it's I'd like to get rid of Julius because of the fucking dubious handle, and I'm gonna get the ball, and then yeah, he's a workhorse. He might get a rebound over somebody, and it's like, yo, reset. And he's just like, nah, boom, and China shot. I'm going up, I'm going up, I'm going up. And it usually results in a turnover or a technical foul because somebody fouled him. They didn't call that shit. And he's screaming at the. So it's like, there's so many questions I don't know because I don't know what offense looks like with Tibbs. Because our offense is literally give Jalen the ball, let him work. Whenever their defense do something, pass it to a shooter. Give Julius the ball. Whenever their defense does something, pass to a shooter. And we just do that for 48 fucking minutes while continuously burning the starters to death.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't even know who to get. Like, I like Rui because I know we need wings and we need shooting. But it's like, I don't know what offense looks like. Like, if you get Rui, does Tibbs play him more than 10 minutes? Because he only gives Obi 12 minutes.
Yeah.
If we get who?
Rui Hachimura.
Okay, if we get Rui, okay.
I know the Lakers aren't gonna. They're gonna do everything in their power to keep him. Yeah, the Lakers are gonna do everything in their power to keep him.
He's not leaving LeBron.
No. The Lakers are. He's not leaving LA. The Lakers are gonna do everything in their power to keep him.
And real quick about Rui, you got to remember Rui came out of Gonzaga, and everybody thought he was going to be a better player. He got to DC and said, "You know what? I'm hurting till y'all get me out of here." Once he got to LA, then he started balling. And I think he's dating one of them video NBA chicks that like to date everybody or something. I think he's with one of them Govans or whatever. I forgot who he's with. So that means he kind of likes the bright lights, whatever. So he ain't leaving LA.
I know he's not leaving LA. I think anybody can leave anywhere with enough money. With enough money, anybody's leaving.
I disagree. I think this is. I'm gonna say this by far. I think this is going to be one of the most exciting, just to me, just like it was a playoffs. This is one of the most exciting playoffs we've seen in a long time, right? Yeah. And I think this is going to be the same thing for this offseason. I think there's going to be a lot of movement. A lot of movement. Think so too. A guy like Ryu, a guy like Schroeder, a lot of those players that was on that team, they got to pick. I feel like the Lakers got to pick because some of these guys showed they need their money. You got to ask yourself, who the Lakers going to pay? Austin Reeves or Ryu?
Reeves is their number one priority.
They're going to try to do both. They're going to try to do both.
I think Reeves is their number one priority.
I think so too. And so my thing is, if they pay Reeves, that means Ryu ain't getting no bread, and he's gonna be out. I think it's gonna be a lot of movement. It's gonna be a lot of people in different places.
And that's where you ask the question. It's like their priority is going to be keep Reeves and Rui, right? So that means that Lonnie is gone. Again, we need size, we need shooting before we need to get the big fish. Because Julius isn't the big fish. The problem is I don't like any of the big fish that we got going on, and also most of the big fish are injury prone, and our coach plays everyone 40 minutes. So it's like, let's say we did get Beal in his nasty contract, right?
No.
He's only playing 60 games, and Tibbs is playing him minimum 39 minutes a night. Let's say we get the big African Embiid. He's only playing 60 games, and Tibbs is playing him 39 minutes a night. So it's like, I don't know, because I don't know what offense looks like with Tibbs. Like, that's where I'm always at with it. Like, I feel like it was great. We had continuity, but, like, people can be stepping stones. Like, you build a foundation, but it's, like, time to get someone who's going to make actual fucking adjustments. I watched this double fucking Jimmy Butler on a hurt ankle when he wasn't doing shit. And I also watched us not attack Jimmy Butler on a hurt ankle. And it's just like that's where I'm at, where it's like, I like all the free agents. Like, I'm pretty sure we can make a splash somewhere. They're probably going to sign IQ and Josh. I think Obi's probably out of here because I think Tibbs hates him because he's light skinned. But I think I'm at it with
he's light skinned.
What about Grimes?
No, because Grimes plays defense. So that it's, I think you can only
light skin and you play defense is good.
So
Yeah.
I feel like he has like
I.E. Hart, I.E. Grimes.
yes, he's got a 3-person light skin minimum. So it's like Derrick Rose is number 1,
Wow.
Grimes is 2, and then Hart is 3. So it's like Obi's the I've seen Obi go between the legs on a fast break, and then Tibbs is like, go to the bench. And I'm just like, all right. I've seen him make 2 threes in a row and give us like a spark, and then Tibbs is like, go to the bench. And I'm like, all right. So like that's where I'm at with it. Like we run 2 offenses, which is why we like flat Cleveland. It's the starters who are going to play grind out slow ISO ball, and then the bench comes in and they're going to run the floor. And if Tibbs sees you take a dunk, especially Obi, get your ass on the bench.
Oh my God.
They gonna have to get rid of Tibbs, yo. You're right, because it don't make no sense. Obi was the National Player of the Year, and you refuse to even cultivate and motivate this kid to like. If I was him, I'd be like, yo, I gotta go. Y'all gotta get me out of here like now.
Obi's
like right
taking more.
Well,
Obi's
he
taking more
might
threes than dunks
very
this
well
year.
get his wish. He's gonna get his wish because
He's gonna be in Indiana.
I don't see anything changing with the Knicks in regards to that. Me and Ferg talk about this all the time. I think it's just gonna be a situation where they're just gonna have to find somebody that does exactly what Tibbs wants to do, and then he'll just play him the minutes he's supposed to play. And it's as simple as that, because Obi, you could tell Obi is not a guy he likes to rock with too much. Ferg has a lot of opinions in regards to Obi, but because I've heard those before, and I'm gonna leave you for last. We're gonna get together, man, and see who he likes. All right, let's see who he likes and who he wants to get rid of.
As far as likes, I mean, I just don't see them signing anybody before they make a trade. If they trade, I think it's going to be either, of course, Barrett or Randall. The only problem is that I just don't think the rest of the league looks at any of these players in the same like we do. So you're not just trading one guy. It had to be a collection. It had to be a package, something that deal. And we're in that critical stage where we have all these picks that we've been accumulating. We have all these guys, and we paid Julius that contract. And in certain aspects, it's a steal of a contract. In other aspects, it's really not, because he makes what, 25?
He's right around
25,
there.
27, some of those points. So it's like, all right, who are you going to trade to bring back, right? And Julius is kind of too much of a headache to just take by himself. You know what I mean? He can't carry a team. Like, all right, is he not a first option? No. He's not a second option? No. He's a third. So why am I taking on this third contract that, how many, 3 years left? Like, why am I giving you my best big or my best, like, so we're hearing like crazy trades like for Karl Anthony Towns. I'm hearing like Julius. I'm hearing like Julius, Grimes, 3 picks. Is Towns really worth that? I don't think so.
No.
We don't want Towns here anyway.
No. I just think with drafting Obi, we should have moved on from Randall. That mistake of not doing that is, I'll be honest with you. I know we're gonna make a trade. I just feel like we're gonna try to make a jump, and it's gonna blow up in our faces like it has the last 2 goddamn decades. Anyway, for the question, free agent wise, I mean, we need a 3. I don't like the pairing of like Grimes and Barrett together. Barrett doesn't have the space to develop. Grimes has a talent, but Grimes he's out there. He looks like at certain times he looks like he knows what to do, and at certain times he doesn't. He gets like the most open threes on the team, and like he just doesn't hit. And you can't have him out there 30, 39, 40 minutes a game, and he's only giving you 8, 9 points. You know what I mean? So I would want like maybe like with the mid-level exception, maybe like a Harrison Barnes, a dude that can defend, a dude that can hit open shots. You know what I mean? Would kind of give, you know what I mean, would be able to stay with any other wing that you put him in front of. Possibly giving RJ the room to, you know, but to Kenny's point, you can't even tell what our offense is. So The problem does remain Tibbs.
Yeah.
As long as Leon Rose is married to Tibbs, there's like where we are is as far as because we shouldn't have lost that series. I don't care what anybody says.
To Miami.
Yeah. Anybody says we should have lost. No hero. Like Kenny said, Butler on one leg. It doesn't make any sense.
He was hurt, and he was hurt and played on one leg for 5 minutes. And
they lost because of leadership. They lost because of leadership on the court. The bottom line is all them dudes do. There's no question that Jimmy is the leader on that team. Yeah. So if Jimmy says it's raining and you looking outside and it's like and it looks like where Kenny is at, and he said, yo, get an umbrella. Jimmy said it's raining. That's how they are. Yeah. They listen to Jimmy and Spo, and that's it. With like if you take Philly, remember Jimmy was with Philly, and they wanted to try and not hurt Ben's feelings and make Joe feel important, and then they lost. He was with Minnesota and with Wiggins and Carl and Cat, and they didn't get it until Jimmy got somewhere that they just shut up and listen. They're not challenging him. So what I'll say with the Knicks, Casey, I hear you. The problem is, and not to cut in, but if you have to see it, the leader is Brunson right now. Brunson's the leader. But Brunson can't play 95 minutes in a 48-minute game. It's just not possible. But your boy Tibbs wants to play him like Tibbs will play him after he got out the bathroom in the morning, like, hey, put your uniform, come on, you're in the game. He's like, dude, can I at least get to the court yet? Can I get to Madison Square Garden? All right, well, you're in the game, but you're going to do it in the car, in the Uber. Like, wait, like, there's no, like, okay, if we do Harrison Barnes, my issue, and I love Harrison Barnes, that's my dude, but if Draymond opts out, Harrison's going back. He's going back. He's going to get that check and go right back with Steph and all of them because there's no pressure.
The other thing too with Harrison Barnes is not coming over here for the mid-level.
Nope.
That's a drastic pay cut for him.
Exactly.
I don't think he
may do it for Golden State.
Let's be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. He's not getting paid. I understand the value of a Harrison Barnes, but he's not getting paid.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies.
No, Huh?
Did you just say, ladies and gentlemen? What's going on here?
Yeah, my bad. He's definitely not getting paid though. And Golden State don't need him. They're just gonna plug. If Draymond leaves, they're just gonna plug in Kuminga. They've been waiting for Kuminga.
I don't think they trust him.
I think it's Kuminga's time. They're gonna put him in there.
Those young guys. They don't trust those young guys.
Say it again, Ken.
They don't trust those young guys.
Steve Kerr told you what's up.
They hate everyone on that team that's not Steph.
Golden State is lucky they won that chip, but they fumbled the draft with Wiseman and they fumbled the draft with Kuminga. They just, you know what it is? They were just strong enough as a core that they could absorb those draft picks. It was kind of like when the Knicks were drafting in the 90s and they kept drafting bums that couldn't help Ewing, but we were good enough where we could just absorb those L's. Golden State's gonna remember
Michael Sweetly, Jesus Christ,
yo.
Because in today's NBA, you have to get the draft picks right.
Yeah,
that's why
that draft is gonna hurt them.
At least one out of them 2 rounds. You got to get at least one player out of there.
But
I think with the Golden State situation, I think it's less them fumbling the picks and more them fumbling usage of the picks. Meaning Wiseman to me is not the issue. The issue is that the coaching staff didn't want to adjust to how Wiseman could be beneficial to the team. Kuminga is an easy plug and play because I think Draymond is wide as welcome, and Clay, even though Clay could be up for a contract, he's shown he's a step slower. So if they went Steph Wiggins, Steph Wiggins and Poole got the bag, right? Those are the highest paid players on that team.
Yeah, but Jordan Poole is stealing. Money.
Jordan Poole ain't worth the money he's getting.
No, that's besides the fact. They're not. I don't see them
talking about where the money
Jordan Poole. I'm just pointing to the fact that if we're talking on how the collective bargaining agreement is going to be
Yes.
in free agency, we got to pick 3 players on there that's getting decent money, and then they're going to have to figure everything else out. So if it's Wiggins, Steph, and Poole, because Poole just got the bag, right? Then that means anybody else that comes to the team got to take shorts, and they got to also relieve some contract. So that means they can't pay Clay if Clay's up for a contract. They're not going to play Draymond, and they're going to use what they have. And some of what they have is a guy like Kuminga. Maybe they don't trust Kuminga, but they have to. It's going to force them to trust them, because what are the other options? Unless they could get Harrison Barnes for cheap. You feel what I'm saying? Like Ernest said, if Harrison Barnes comes over for shorts and say, yo, I just want to be back on the winning team, and but at the same time, Sacramento got something really nice going on. He may take shorts to stay in Sacramento, but they got Keegan Murray. They got Loud. They had Lyles over there. Even though Lyles could be, they got players that if they want to plug and play and move on and just stay young, they can do that.
Here's the question: did the point guard get his bag yet?
De'Aaron Fox?
Yeah, he got paid.
Fox got his bag.
He got his bag
ready.
Because if he didn't get his bag, because I can tell you, the Kings could go either route. And y'all, I'm a little older, so I'll date myself. Back in the days, you had Boston, you had Philly, and then you had Milwaukee. Wait, I'm talking about Bird and Irvin and all of them. Yeah, I'm gonna be the I'm gonna be the old school dude here. And Milwaukee had a crew, but they couldn't get past them two. So right now, you got the Nuggets, who, listen, they're gonna be up there. Who knows what the Lakers are gonna do? But if the Kings are gonna get through anybody, they gotta get through them too. And they're gonna have to.
I think it's very possible. All the Kings is missing is a player they used to have, to be honest with you. They need what's the guy? They need Bagley, or they need Holmes. Healthy, these guys healthy, of course. They need one of those guys to play the 5, because Sabonis should not be at the 5. And that's the real issue that I see with Sacramento. They have all the other pieces, all the other youth, and most of those guys is locked up. DeAndre's ready, Sabonis is ready. But they have an offense. Huh?
I said they have an offense.
Yeah, they have something we don't. They have something we don't. So let's bring it back to the Knicks.
Yeah,
that's
why I get told the Grimes thing.
Casey, you don't see there being a particular player that, if we could make it happen, could change things for us.
I mean, yeah, but what do we have to give up? We'd have to give up a lot.
Well, that's
like everybody. I heard y'all like that throw up Grimes. I just don't think Tibbs is in love with him. Like he's not going to go unless Tibbs goes. And if you're just going to throw Grimes and trade now, well, why didn't you just trade for Mitchell last offseason? Because that's the reason why we didn't get Mitchell.
I don't
that trade was all but done until they would put Grimes.
I don't mind keeping, but that's the thing. I don't mind keeping Grimes. I think Grimes' real issue is the person who happens to also be in love with him, because it's like Grimes, he's in what his second year. He's coming into his
third.
Nah, this is his second year.
No,
he's going in his third.
No, this is third.
No, I'm saying he just finished his second year, so this is going to be his third
year.
Yeah.
He was in exactly. So it's like contract is going to be nice. He's not ready. We're not really going to have to pay him until like next year, unless we give him like an extension now. But it's like, I think his problem of why he misses so many wide open shots is because of our offense. He goes from either like, can he be a Michael Porter Jr.? I don't know. Can he be a Keegan Murray? I don't know. But those guys, they know they're on the team. When they get the ball, it's going in the air. Grimes either gets the ball maybe 2 times a game, or he's going to get the ball 10 times a game. It's hot and cold. There's games where like he's lights out, and then there's games where like he touches the ball, hits 2 threes, and he's not seeing the ball for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
and it's like,
get rhythm. I hear you.
If I know he's a shooter, he's going to play defense, and he's going to be like guarding like your best player, but it's like offense.
So let me ask you this, Kenny. Let me ask you this, Kenny, because first of all, I think we could all agree the offense is terrible for the Knicks, right? But the difference, I would say, hands down, right? The difference between what I've seen and what I've seen last year is Brunson. So the difference is
Yes.
we didn't really have a point guard. And now that we have a shooting point guard, a scoring point guard, the ball is in Brunson's hands a lot. And because
we had a point guard last year. We had Alec Burks.
He made up funny. That was hilarious.
We had Alec Burks.
Yeah, but the problem is this, right? The problem is this: with the ball in Brunson's hand, and then going from Brunson to Randall, who are two ball dominant guys, and then RJ trying to get his time to shine, right? What you see a lot of from Grimes is a lot of standing around waiting to get an open shot, right? And he's always standing around the 3-point line. And I really hate that, right? We don't have enough motion. Me and Ferg talk about this a lot. Ain't no cut and ain't no back door, because we don't have an offense, right? But the truth of the matter is he shot better the year before than he did this past year, right? But also, and I think this is actually much more of importance than what most people think, he needs to go back to the bench. I love Grimes because of his defense, but he needs to go back to the bench so he can play with the second unit. And because the second unit plays different from the first unit, it's more his style of play anyway. But because he's a Tibbs guy, right? Tibbs pushed him into the starting lineup. Now, granted, we could get creative. If the team stays the same, Grimes can be put to the bench and Josh Hart can start at the 2. That's a reality. Because if we're gonna re-sign Hart could start at the 2 and between him and RJ, they could constantly just swap. It could be a lot of switching going on over there, which is what we do sometimes. There could be a lot of switching between those two guys, but Hart has to work on his jump shot, and that's the key.
That's where I was, because I don't mind that, because we did a lot of guard screens in the series against Cleveland. The problem is RJ and Hart, I don't like on the court together because we have literally zero negative space. We have no shooting on the court. And it's Josh is going to be hesitant to shoot. RJ, I don't want him taking more than 3 threes a game. I scream when he just is I'm going to hoist these bitches. And then I got Julius hoisting these bitches. And then it's just Mitch is kind of just standing there while no one passes him the ball. And then Brunson's all right, fuck it. I'll at least carry us into halftime. So it's I don't mind Grimes going back to the bench because, again, my point, we need a wing and we need shooting. It's just that if we're going to put Hart into the starting lineup, there needs to be shooting. I didn't mind Hart off the bench because it was him and IQ were kind of just running point. Josh was I'm going to rebound. I'm going to pass where I need to pass. I'm going to fucking push the pace. Quickly's going to push the pace. He's going to shoot. And it's literally 2 different offenses. That I don't know what a lot of things are with the team because I don't know what offense looks like. Because I don't even know who we plug into things because our offense is stand around, don't cut, don't move, just wait till the ball gets to you.
Well, I just want to correct you from now on.
You brought up a good point though. You said that Grimes played better last year, and you reminded me Burks was there last year. So a lot of those minutes that Grimes got wasn't that when taking over when Burks left? Because I think Burks was still there last year.
Yeah, Burks was there.
Yeah, he was.
He was running point.
No, but to Ferg, I think Ferg made this point. So just to bring a little clarity. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, Ferg. With the second unit, Derrick Rose was running it 2 years ago.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Derrick Rose was running the point, which opened up a lot of shots. It worked better with Obi. They weren't pushing the ball. It worked better with Obi. Burks ran the point, not off the bench. He put him in the starting lineup.
Yeah,
to run the point. Lineup. So Grimes wasn't part of that. Grimes was part of the bench squad with Obi quickly, right? Derrick Rose,
right?
So that's where
now he took those minutes that Burks had. Sometimes it's you got to do. You yo, he's nice. He should play more. Then when he plays more, you're oh, I see why he don't play more. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the way that Tibbs did it though is Grimes and McBride earned more playing time, and they showed it in summer league, everything, right? They earned the time, but then he fell so in love with Grimes, he put him in the starting lineup because he liked the defense, right? But it messed up what the look like on the bench.
Yes.
It messed up what the bench looked like, and we were no longer using Derrick Rose this year. So it messed things up. Now that could be corrected this offseason, right? This offseason and before this draft, there's a lot of things that could be corrected, right? So let's just say hypothetically, and then I'll get to Ferg. Matter of fact, I'll get to Ferg first because I don't want to post any. I want to leave it to my turn before I post all the possible scenarios that I envision for the team. So let's go to you, Ferg, and you tell me what's the moves you would want to make based on what we have.
I want to basically say it from like the front office's point of view. And I even want to go back to the Evan Fournier and the Kemba Walker signings, because what we're failing to realize is that the front office doubled down on that 2020 team. And the 2020 team, when Tibbs won Coach of the Year, that was a very flawed team that had no business being where they were.
Overachievers.
Yeah,
yep.
Very much overachievers. So what they did was they made the mistake of doubling down, and to their credit, they didn't sign them to crazy contracts. They gave them team-friendly deals that they were able to trade off. So I'll give them credit for that. But I think that the Kemba Walker experiment was a mistake, in that you saw that they had to get off of Elfrid Payton. So they figured, let's take a chance on Kemba Walker. Problem is, Kemba Walker showed you he was washed. Couldn't break down anybody on offense, meaning he couldn't get into the paint. And Kemba Walker didn't really work well with Julius or RJ. Didn't really work well with them. And on defense, him and Fournier at the point of attack, nightmare. Nightmare. So that was a mistake that they tried to fix during the past offseason, which they did. Because now you're telling me you swapping out Brunson for Walker. Hey, that makes sense. Now you're telling me you want to put Fournier on the bench and put in Grimes. I get it. That makes sense. Where the plans changed was when Cam Reddish had a 15-game head start on Grimes and fumbled that opportunity. It wasn't supposed to be Grimes in the starting lineup. It was supposed to be Cam. Okay? And Cam fumbled that opportunity and thought that he was still going to be able to play while not giving his 100% or playing his best. And when you already not a Tibbs guy, and then you coming out here acting like you
mute, Ferg.
Gonna garner. So that's one dynamic. The other thing that we also have to remember is that from a front office point of view, if you look at the way the season started, right? Tibbs was playing Rose and was playing Fournier. Because we paying these guys, you got to play them, right? Grimes and McBride weren't necessarily ready to start the season, but he ended up having to play them because shortening the rotation is probably all that made sense at that time. And to go to as far as like the lack of ball movement and all that, the front office built a team with 3 players that are their best when maximizing mismatch. So for example, they'll set screens to get Brunson on a big, or they'll set screens, or they'll isolate Brunson on a point guard that probably can't move his feet as well. Or they'll set screens to get RJ going downhill on somebody that may not be able to stay with him physically. Or, they'll get Julius the ball on the block with someone that he could either face up or take down low, right? The problem with that is when you are maximizing mismatches, guys like Grimes don't get the opportunity for the sole fact that Grimes is literally the number 4 option when he's on the court with those 3. So does Grimes belong on the bench? Yes, he does, because he'll be better on the bench. Now, the same thing is, okay, If you're putting Grimes on the bench, that means you're putting him with Quickly and Obi, right? But at the same time, because you got guys like Rose and Fournier occupying 2 roster spots that you could easily use to put on the bench, that's what created a lot of the problems. So the Knicks were able to fix some of the 2021 problems while still win more games and still advance in the playoffs this season, solely because of Brunson and Julius's basically deference to Brunson in certain cases. So I think it's still a work in progress. It's still a work in progress. I don't want to say anything too drastic when it comes to that. Now, as far as players we're moving out, in reality, because of the mid-level exception, the Knicks, the only way the Knicks make a splash, like I said, is RJ or Julius going out, because I believe they got to be split up. Whichever one it is. If it's Jeremy Grant, it's RJ. It's Julius. If it's a Zach LaVine, it's RJ. If it's a Bradley Beal, it's RJ. There's not so much that you really have at the power forward position that's open for trade. And I don't want nothing to do with Cat. Cat ain't the one for here. That Jimmy Butler made it known years ago when he was
go hard.
Pat Beverly just exposed him again. And yeah, I'm good. I'm good with Cat. I don't need that over here. So when I really see it for what it is, the Knicks need a backup point guard, or we need another wing shooter. So me and Dee have thrown these names around. I like Seth Curry for the mid-level. I think that's a legit option. I like DiVincenzo, even though D's not a big fan of DiVincenzo, but I don't mind that because those are players that you can swap out for players that weren't even playing. And then you're keeping the money the same. So this way, if you want to make a trade, you can make a trade and not necessarily lose production off the bench. Another thing that I would like for them to entertain, as crazy as it may seem, I wouldn't mind seeing a Brook Lopez for Mitchell Robinson swap.
I wouldn't mind that at all either. I wouldn't mind that at all either.
Because the reason why I say that is this. The front office
makes sense. It just makes sense.
Yeah, the front office is showing you they're not moving off of Tibbs. So the idea of Tibbs getting out here is something we got to just come to realism on. He's not going anywhere. So if you got a coach that likes to play drop coverage defense, why not get somebody that can still control the paint, can still rebound, can still block shots, and guess what? Brook Lopez can space the floor. You don't necessarily got to run a play for Brook. Brook Lopez can literally stay out on the three-point line, and because you have to guard him, you're going to pull out a Jokic. You're going to pull out an Embiid. You're going to pull out a Bam Adebayo. He's got to go out there and guard him, which now opens lanes for RJ. That opens more lanes for Julius. So sometimes, I think me personally, our biggest spacing problem is Mitch. Because we don't have a spacing problem with Hartenstein. If you notice when Miami ran their zone and Hartenstein was on the court, whenever Hartenstein was at the top of the key to the defensive 3-second circle, Hartenstein, when they ran that the zone defense, Hartenstein was in the middle of that zone, similar to the way the college teams beat that zone.
The little push shot.
Yeah, he has that, and he also has the ability to pass out of that position, which Mitch doesn't have.
Rebounds.
Right. So don't be shocked if Mitch is on the move. Like if
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked.
So
especially after him complaining on Twitter.
Right. So if it ain't Brook Lopez, it's also a Miles Turner, because that's another dude that can block shots, rebound, space the floor, and he's more skilled than Mitch. So I think that a lot of our offense is designed the way it is because we have a center that I mean, let's call it what it is. Mitch doesn't have good hands. And on top of that, fundamentally, when he gets an offensive rebound, he brings the ball down every time. And when you're not a good free throw shooter, You can't bring the ball down. Because that's why Kyle Lowry was swiping at him. The number one play was hack a Mitch the minute he gets the rebound. Make him miss 1 out of 2, if not 0 for 2, right? So I think before we do anything drastic, right, with our starting 5, why not try starting Hartenstein over Mitch first? Whew. Think about that. Now, defensively, you might take a hit. Offensively, the ball would move better.
So you can't take us from a defensive identity and then make us an offensive team with a non-offensive coach. We already have an issue with no fucking offense, Ferg. So you can't start him. The whole thing is premised around Mitch covering up for our defensive liabilities when the only defensive guys we got is like a grind.
Tibbs would never do it. Tibbs would never do it.
Yeah, it's like I don't hate any of that. But Tibbs even allowed this big to fucking be anywhere past the free throw line.
But here's the thing, though. Here's what we're failing to realize. We're failing to realize that although the offense wasn't pretty, the Knicks had one of the highest rated offenses in the league. The reason being is the offensive rebounding. We were basically getting almost 2 to 3 possessions every time we got the ball.
And so who's the main guy getting those, Ferg?
Yes, it was Mitch. But the thing is, though, but again, if Mitch is off the floor, maybe you're making the shot the first time, and you don't need the offensive rebound.
When you saying it like Mitch was the one missing.
No, you're not hearing my point.
No, I get what he's saying. He's saying that we might, because RJ misses a lot of layups, but that's also because of spacing.
Right. Because the thing is, if Mitch's man doesn't have to leave the paint, that means RJ's hitting a layup over 2 defenders every time.
Okay,
you get what
that
I'm
makes
saying?
sense. That makes sense.
If Hartenstein is out the paint, RJ's driving only on his man. Now, if Hartenstein's man cheats to help, RJ can skip that pass over to Hartenstein for the little floater.
Well, I got a solution. I got a solution to this to this problem. In my dream scenario, right? In my dream scenario is either we could go one of 2 ways. I don't know how we make it happen exactly, but I think it can be done. Hopefully, possibly. I feel like if we go Zach LaVine route, right? This is just me. If we're gonna go the Zach LaVine route, empty out as much as possible. So that means RJ gotta go, right? RJ goes, Mitch goes, get rid of the 2 players that we're not using off the bench and give them some draft picks. But we gotta get Zach LaVine and Vucevic for both of those. If we get Vucevic, right? Vucevic helps spreads the floor. He's still a rebounder. He's a scorer. He fucks up the zone, right? And Zach LaVine could easily go to the 3. You could put Hart at the 2, or you could keep Grimes, however you want to do it. I would prefer Hart, but Zach is a better shooter, right? He hands down is a better shooter than RJ, right? And so we have the shooting from there and the center position, right? And Vucevic is not a horrible defender, right? But I feel like if we go that route, we got to get the both of them at the same time. We get rid of as much as we can to get both of them. I don't think we make any move just to get Zach LaVine. To me, it's not worth it. Now, if we readjust and go another route, I say we make a bunch of different moves, and the moves is we find a way to package Steph Foulias, right, and somebody else for Jeremy Grant, right, for Jeremy Grant, and then we go the route of getting Seth Curry for the minimum, and or
for the mid level.
Strauss. We could get Max Strauss on a decent deal as well, right? I think he's not going to make too much money, but he might be somebody that we could snatch up on the low. Brook Lopez is tough because everybody's going to want Brook Lopez. He's going to be high in demand. It's going to be very high in demand. So I don't really see us being able to finagle that. But that would have been great. Yeah. And if we could have found a way, just found a way to get like a nigga like Cameron Johnson or Mikal Bridges just to take the place. But I know the Nets ain't partner with those dudes. But that's the dream scenario where where you know
You got
the
a better
fairies is
chance
on my
getting Cam
shoulder.
Thomas.
Huh?
Yeah,
You got a better
dream
chance getting
scenario.
Cam Thomas than
Exactly,
Cam
because
Johnson.
that's because his ass don't play no D. He's a fucking head case. So of
Yeah.
course we got a better chance getting that damn
Cam Thomas.
motherfucker.
We already
Yeah.
had Cam Thomas. His name was Alonzo Tria.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, we already had that
He
guy.
just
Not
say that he called him
Alonzo
Alonzo Trier.
Wow.
Damn,
So,
dog.
You know, listen, you
Why
know
you
he
had
gonna
to
play.
say it like that, man?
Come on, man. You know we had that guy. We all thought Alonzo was gonna be our shooting guard. So they realized, dude, don't want to pass, don't play no defense. He only has
nah,
to for one thing.
I didn't. You can't have your name be called ISO Zoe and then like expect him to pass the ball. Like,
Yo, did they call him
Really?
ISO Zone like his
Yes, they
first
did.
like 5 games?
yeah, yeah, man.
yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's not passing the ball. So
Yo,
Oh, man.
he got that nickname way too fast. Way too fast.
Yeah.
but I don't mind players who don't pass the ball. You just got to fit right because Michael Porter Jr. don't pass the ball.
That's
But he
true.
gonna hoist that bitch.
That's
He gonna
true.
hoist that
That's
bitch.
true.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
If Michael Porter Jr. get the ball, it's going in the basket. It's going towards it. It doesn't matter.
But you know what
But-
it is, though? You got to play with enough people that are ball movers. So,
Yeah.
like the Denver roster is the most difficult roster to analyze for the sole fact that they get to play with Jokic.
Yeah, because Jokic don't
So,
give a fuck
yeah.
about nothing.
it's like- It's kind of like the dudes LeBron used to play with. Now, I'm not the biggest LeBron guy, but LeBron used to get a cast of characters that made no fucking sense. But these niggas would kill you because LeBron was unselfish enough to get them the ball where they could succeed the most.
I actually think Denver doesn't look like that at all because I think, for instance, Aaron Gordon hit the three in a way that we didn't expect in the finals. But for LeBron, that would have had to been Kevin Love, where you made him a 3-point shooter, right? So
Right.
I think most of the team passes the ball, which allows for the one nut, which is Michael Porter Jr. And then the second nut, second nut is Jamal Murray when he decides to go nut, but he always picks and chooses his spots.
Yeah, they have a cast of like nutcases and low ego because Jokic doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Aaron Gordon was like, I was in Orlando. I truly don't give a fuck. Just put me wherever you need to put me.
And KCP's like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jamal Murray's like, all right, fourth quarter, let me just fucking hoist some shit. Michael Porter Jr. is like, yo, I'm gonna take 9 threes. I don't give a fuck. And Jokic is just like, yeah, I want to race my horses. I'll pass.
So let's transition real quick. Let's transition real quick.
I just brought up a valid point. I'm sorry, real quick.
Go ahead.
When you said about Porter and you was talking about the hierarchy of the offense, right? You got Joker, you got Murray, you got Porter. Porter believes he's the third. So and there's no real battle with it. You get what I'm saying? Now, if we go back to the Knicks when you had Melo and then you had Shump and JR trying to paddle for who's the second in the line, that's when it doesn't work. But the Nuggets work because nobody cared about the three. Everybody else was just happy to be there. Like KCP was like, I'm happy to be here. Brown was like, I'm happy to be here. Jeff Green was like, yo, no, I'm happy to be here. Everybody was just happy to be there, and it was no problem. But when you got these other teams, that's how it works.
I said that's why it works.
You make a great
Jeff
point.
Green is like, yo, I've been in the league for 16 years. And Michael Porter is like, doesn't matter. I'm getting these 9 threes up. And Jokic is like, yeah, I'm going to pass you so you can get these 9 threes up. We don't know who their three is because like Jokic can allow everybody to just shine because he's like, I don't give a fuck. I want to go home.
He literally doesn't care. Which bringing it back to the Knicks, which is part of the problem, which is why Ferguson's absolutely correct that if we make any move, one of Randall or Barrett got to go because when you talk about the top 3 guys, Randall does not like taking a back seat, especially to RJ. When RJ is on and he becomes the second option outside of Brunson, he starts to pout and act like a little bitch. And so because there's a tug of war there on who's going to be the 2 or the 3, it has to be a very clear and defined role. And so one of those guys have to go.
But the thing too, it's clear Brunson's the alpha. I'll give him that. Brunson's the alpha. So whatever trade you make, it's got to be a trade that puts RJ or Randall as the third option, in my opinion. RJ or Randall can't be the second option. And so it's got to be Brunson or that number 2 guy, or you bring in somebody who makes Brunson your number 2 guy.
So let me ask you something. If because I've told you this before, for me, it's Jeremy. I want Jeremy Grant, right? I want us to find a way to get rid of Randall to bring in Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant plays within the flow of an offense, and he doesn't need the ball. He doesn't take a lot of dribbles, none of that, and he plays defense in the way that Julius doesn't. Right. If you do that, we've seen RJ and Brunson be able to work together as the 1 and the 2. RJ can take a step further, a step in the right direction, being the number 2 guy behind Brunson. Jeremy Grant scores 20 points a game without even trying. He gets it in the flow of the game, right? And then if we could find, even if we still find a way to get rid of Mitch so we could get a little more buckets from the 5 position, right? That can work, bro. That could work.
I'm not saying it won't work, but my thing is, if Mitch is still here, you're gonna have more ISO ball. If Mitch is still here.
Yeah, because it's the clogging up the paint.
Yes, if Mitch is still here, you're gonna have more guys trying to break down their man on the perimeter. If you find a way to move Mitch and you bring in somebody that does not have to live in the paint, then it creates an opening for a number of people. So that's why I kept saying, until they break up RJ, like for example, if you're sending RJ out, that means you're bringing in another isolation scorer, which kind of balances her off. But if you're moving Randall, Mitch got to go with him. I don't think you can move Randall and leave Mitch. I think you got to move both, in my opinion, because that means if you're keeping RJ and his number 1 strength is getting to the basket, you have to make sure you open lanes for him. You got to open lanes for him. So
would you take, let's say you're correct. Would you swap Randall and Mitch for KP and Kuz?
Offensively,
KP, yes, I ain't touching
offensively, it makes us better. Defensively, it would be a nightmare. Yeah. Offensively, it makes us, you know what it is? Offensively, you would be the Sacramento Kings, but you would also be the Sacramento Kings defensively as well. Because Sabonis and Porzingis in the paint is practically the same thing. They're not going to.
I don't agree. I think KP blocks way more shots than Sabonis.
No, KP blocks shots. KP's not a rebounder.
Yes, he rebounds. What are you talking about?
KP rebounds
and Kuz is a good rebounder too. That's why I'm asking.
Here's my thing.
If we get Kristoff, Josh Hart is the best rebounder on the team because he's 7'3" and he's getting us about 5 or 6 a game.
Because the thing is, KP, even when KP was playing with us, KP, the reason why he spreads the floor so well, because he doesn't want to play in the paint.
Yeah. He was 7'3" and didn't want to play the center because
that's fine, but he's playing, he plays this, he's played the center now for Washington. The thing what I'm saying to you guys is KT never had an issue defensively rebounding the ball. So you're talking about offensive rebounding, right? But when you got guys like Josh Hart, Kyle Kuzma, I don't know if you guys has watched them in this past year. Both those guys rebound. Both those guys rebound more than you think. Now, do you believe that he would offensively rebound? Absolutely not, because he's not going to be in the paint. I totally agree with that. But if we're putting him at the 5, we're still answering the question that you're surrounding behind Mitch, right? Because KP will hit the 3 or he'll hit the mid-range from the foul line. Yes, that doesn't put him in a position to offensive rebounding, but it does offer a lot of oops via RJ and allows RJ to freaking go to the hole.
And you know what? Here's one thing I will say. It might not be popular. But if you give Tibbs Porzingis over Mitch, he might make it work defensively.
I think he will. I think he
He
can.
might be able to scheme it defensively.
Well, let me say this with Kuzma though. That this has always been my issue. Me and Dante talked about this at nauseum. With Kuzma, I have an issue with peroxide brothers. That's my issue.
With the hair.
And y'all know what I mean. You know, if all of a sudden you show up one training camp and you got blonde hair, and Kuzma's always on Twitter, and you got to argue about this, that, and the third. There's too many things that when Kuzma first came in the league, when it was him and what's his name, son? I was because I barely see him, so I'm not going to use the name. I said, yeah, Lamar's firstborn. Yeah.
Oh, Lamar.
Lonzo. Yeah. Lamar's firstborn. Lamar, you know. So Pop's firstborn. They was playing, and nobody knew about Kuzma. Magic picked him. Nobody knew about him, and he was doing this thing in the summer league. Everybody was like, "Yo, this kid is going to be, you know, he's going to be great. Let's see what happens." And then Kuzma, all of a sudden, now it's about the furs, it's about the blonde hair, it's the tats, it's Twitter, and everything else instead of hearing about him being in the lab getting his game right for the season. Now, I'm never going to say that when he left LA and he went to DC and he had some, you know, some crazy fantasy league games. Yes, he did. But I don't see where Kuzma's going to really benefit your team where you say it's better. It's more like just different. It's like Chris Childs coming in.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
You feel where I'm coming from?
Kind of like it's not a needle mover.
No.
And it's fine because
it's a jersey wear.
In some ways, all we got to ask ourselves is, what are we changing at the 5 and what are we changing at the 4? And is Kuzma going to give us the same issues that Julius does? Kuzma's going to pose. Kuzma's going to pose.
Offensive play though. That's scary.
Yeah, but Kuzma will give us a different type of problem, as you may be pointing out, Ferd. But we don't have. At least we're not. I mean, Ernest. But as long as we don't have to deal with Julius bullshit, I'm okay with that. I'll take the blonde hair and wanting to be at the Met Gala and all of that over having to deal with Julius shit.
Yeah. You're essentially dealing with someone who's just going to be out at Tao and enjoying all of that of the New York lifestyle versus like Julius, who's like Julius is very low key, but it's just when he's on the court, when he's making fucking 8 threes in the first quarter, he's going to hustle back, play defense. This year is the most I've seen Julius dunk since he broke his leg. You're going to dunk, you're going to block some shots, but let him miss 5 shots in a row. It's just going to be him turning the ball over and throwing his hands in the air and looking at somebody else like it's their fault.
Bro, that's why I keep saying, no matter what move you make this year, if you're going to make one 4-star player.
That's why I like RJ.
You got to make
RJ's
that
forgetful.
To push them down the totem pole, in my opinion. Because here's the thing that a lot of people aren't saying. Brunson only has 2 years left on his bargain basement deal. He's got a player option for the last year. He's going to opt out of that and get really
So whatever
paid.
move we make, we got to make it a good one. We got to make it a good one.
It's got to be a move that gets you to the Eastern Conference or the chip within these 2 years. Because with the CBA the way it's going to be, you're talking about probably paying Brunson upwards of 40 to 50 million after that player option. So this is the thing that a lot of times when you build gradually, that's why the Knicks are in that position right now. They could make a move that sends them to the top or puts them right in the cellar. That's why this offseason is so crazy, because the names that are out there that you know would put Brunson as a 2, RJ as a 3, or Randall as a 3, those are franchise-changing moves. And the Knicks have the draft picks to do it. They have the outgoing salary to do it. You just hope they go for the right guy. That's all it is.
Let's transition to this real quick. And I want to start with you, Ernest. We're going to go around real quick because we're going to run out of time soon. And I want to try to touch base on as much stuff as possible. Let's just say we can't make any real significant moves. Let's say we just let go of that dead weight on the contract. We get maybe 2 mid-level exceptions. and we pick up Seth Curry and somebody else, whoever, nobody that's a needle mover, but somebody that can, help us. If you could add a coach right now, Mr. Bell, who's the coach that would take the current roster and take us to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Okay.
Somebody that's available. No dream scenario, Eric Spoelstra. Like somebody that might be scenario, that might be available.
Handcuffing me, man. Listen, all right. I'll say, if you got a choice, I'm gonna give a sentimental, because I'm always gonna go with Bishop Lachlan on. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Mark, because the Knicks broke my heart 2 times trading him, so that's all I'm gonna say. So I'm always gonna pick Mark first, because Mark understands the city, period. But if Mark don't want to come home because he's loving that LA life with his lovely wife, I will say that the next coach would have to be somebody that's on the bench now. So I would say Sam Cassell. And I know he just went back, he just went to the Celtics. But the reason why I would say Sam Cassell is because Sam has won chips. He has played with stars. He has played in winning organizations. He won chips in his early years, won chips in his later years. So there's really nothing Sam has not seen. So he would be my pick, because I believe that he would be able to deal with the media, because they wouldn't be able to throw him off. Because if one thing Sam could do was talk.
Yep, that's a fact.
So
that is a fact.
You get a straight up answer. And his guards are going to play, because Sam's game was old school back in the days. He was posting at 6-3, posting up people in the post. When Olajuwon would go out, Sam would go in the post. And they just couldn't figure that out. It wouldn't be no forwards. It wouldn't be Otis Thorpe. They would put Sam down low, and he would just beat the other point guard senseless. So that would be my choice.
KC, who you got?
That's available. That's not on the bench right now.
No, it could be somebody on the bench. Just somebody who you think, if we could plug in right now, it could take us over the hump.
Ty Lue.
Ty Lue's not available.
I think he means it can't be a head coach, but if he's assistant coach, you could pick him.
No, there's some head coaches that's available. I don't know that Ty Lue's still under contract?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. See, I don't know.
He ain't leaving that bomber money.
Well, is the question the for this season? Like, if you were to swap out Tibbs for the season we just had, or are you talking about leaving the roster the way it is for next season?
No, I'm talking about we can't make no moves to change the roster currently, right? And we got to stick with what we have right now,
and
with the exception of somebody mid-level, right? And we're able to somehow eat the contracts of like Derrick Rose and Fournier. So we pick up 2 mid-level exceptions, and the team is consistent. But we know, I know for a fact, deep in my soul, Tibbs is not going to get us over the hump. So if they say, damn, nobody's coming here. Everybody's still trying to fleece us. They want all our picks and 6 players just for Zach LaVine. We ain't doing it, blah, 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 blah. And we decide, you know what? Even though we all know Leon Rose ain't going away from Tibbs, he says, you know what? I think this coach could make the changes we need. Who is the coach?
Budenholzer.
Budenholzer, okay.
And every other team in the East stays the way it is, too?
Yeah. Or they make upgrades. I don't care about everybody else, bro.
No.
We're not making moves based on what the fuck that everybody else is doing. It's for the Knicks. Who can help the Knicks? Help us, please.
The answer I'm about to give is gonna fuck the whole shit up. That's why I'm trying to frame it.
So it doesn't matter. Give your answer. I know what your answer is. I'm almost positive I know what your answer is.
Nah, bro. I'm gonna throw a name out there you not ready for.
All right, say no more. Hit me.
And I'm saying, given the way we played this year, what we have on our roster, how about Mike D'Antoni?
Oh my God.
I told you I'm gonna fuck it up, right?
This
So
I
you
might
want
have
to
to.
you want to
I might have
Now
to
give me,
dance.
give me a
I'm
minute
taking
to
Ferg
explain
out
it.
the chat.
No. Give me a minute to explain it. I
You done
promise.
made Kenny get off the couch. You made Kenny get off the bench, man. He's like, yo, I gotta move. I can't even
Nah,
stay in this shade no more.
give
He
me a
trying to
minute
give us
to
all a
explain
heart
it.
attack.
Tibbs and
Give me a
D'Antoni
minute to
are
explain
yin and yang. One doesn't give a fuck about offense. The other one doesn't
I
give a fuck
understand
about
that.
like they need
But
to be together.
give
Create
me
a
a
whole
minute to
perfect
explain it.
coach.
The reason why I'm saying that is this. Given the way the East was this year, right? What would you say was our Achilles heel against Miami? It wasn't defense.
It's coaching.
It was offense, right?
It's
We couldn't come up. We couldn't come up.
Eric Spoelstra
Coaching.
eats video. Eric Spoelstra
Coaching.
eats video.
It wasn't even. Let me tell you, Ferg, this is what's so crazy. As bad as our offense was,
Yeah.
it was as simple as playing motherfuckers. Coaching.
We
I
were
get all
literally
of that.
But
doubling.
remember-
We were
but
doubling
let me
Jimmy
explain
Butler
though. Again,
like he was fucking primetime LeBron James on a
Let
bum
me-
ankle doing nothing.
let me explain why I'm saying that. The reason why I'm saying that is this. That same Mike D'Antoni, right? If Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, they beat Golden State that year in Houston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sound like my best
Right.
friend who happens to be a Rockets fan.
So the thing that I'm saying is, if you give him defensive players, they can win their defensive matchups. But think about to what Kenny's point was. I don't know how to analyze our roster because we don't have an offense. So what you have to understand is the game would be different. The pace would be different. Okay. Everything changes. Even the way you play defense would be different because if you're running and gunning with the roster we have, with guys like Obi, who would be a Sean Marion, okay? With guys like Grimes, who would have better looks, all right? With a guy like Quickly, with a guy like Brunson under a Mike D'Antoni offense, what that does is create pressure for the other team to try to keep up with you. And the only reason why Golden State was able to beat Houston is because they had an offense that could do that. But Houston easily could have made it to the chip that year, bro. So what I'm trying to say is,
If was a spliff, we'd be all fucked up. And D'Antoni hasn't proven he could do anything.
The reason why I told you I wanted to give that name to mess it up is because it goes to show you how much uncertainty we have with the roster. That's the point I'm trying to make. Now, don't get me wrong. My favorite choice would be with Ernest to go with a Mark Jackson. But I'm so concerned with how the roster's built. And D, you've heard me say this before. The roster does dictate how you're going to coach. And Tibbs
I don't agree.
Let me finish. Tibbs is a floor raiser. He's not a ceiling raiser.
Exactly.
So that's my point. But if you think about it, Mark Jackson was a foundation builder, and then Steve Kerr came in and took it to a different height. So in bringing Mark Jackson, am I getting more of the same? Because think about it. One thing Mark Jackson hasn't proven is taking a team to the next level.
But Mark Jackson the rug was pulled under his feet his feet before he got a chance to even prove that he could or couldn't.
Agreed 1000%. But my point is there any way we can definitively say that if Mark Jackson was there, they would have won the same amount of chips? We don't know.
We don't.
We can only go based on
it was
what
trending in the right direction.
They would.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. We got to be fair. We know what he can do. We don't know what he can't do. So
I agree.
That's my point.
That's 4 chips.
Now, don't get it twisted. Mike D'Antoni would never be able to step foot in Madison Square Garden ever again. So the guy that I would really bring in is Mike Woodson, because Mike Woodson was still running D'Antoni's offense, and he implemented defense while doing so. That's the real guy. But I wanted to fuck up the conversation just to see.
Did you bring up the video? You ever seen that video when Woodson he was talking with Rashid, and he was like, "You want to play, Rashid?
Yeah.
You want to play?
Yeah.
Let's go." Yo, I was ready to go put on some. I was ready to go to the park. Like I was
Do
like,
you
yo,
remember? Do you remember?
I was
which
ready to
game
go
that
in.
was?
I was like, Coach, I'm ready.
You know that was the first game after Hurricane Sandy.
Word.
That
I
was the
did not
first
know that.
game
Yeah.
after Hurricane Sandy when LeBron and D Wade was just like, we don't think the Knicks should be playing. Blah blah blah. We blew them out by 20 that night.
Because they didn't want to play.
They didn't want to play. Yeah,
He's like,
and
nah, I
then
don't want to play.
and then
I
Randy
just had to
Johnson
create
went
that
off.
video. I was ready to go to the park. Like I was like, yeah, I'm putting
Um,
some Bengay on. I'm getting out there. I got to show these young boys what's up.
I love that, but Woodson's not leaving.
Oh, no.
He
He's in his,
left here to go there.
yeah, he's in his
But
best situation.
Yeah. He's not leaving. I wish he never left because I think we would see a different team, and I think we'd have actually went further.
He's the shadow coach. That's why.
Yeah. I think
That's why my
Shadow
choice would be.
coach. I like
He's
that.
the shadow coach because if it was him and Kenny Payne, I like to call them. They're like the shadow coach because they're the. When you hear like the players talk, there's certain names that pop up like constantly. So it was like Kenny Payne was like, "Oh, I'm gonna work out with Julius every day because like I was his coach." Woodson is like, "Yeah, like I can relate to like players." That's why like I would say Johnny Bryant because he's sitting on the bench right now. Because whenever you hear something going on with our team, Johnny Bryant is the one that like one. He's the one who got Spider to be Spider. IQ was like, "Oh yeah, I was working out with Johnny." Even Julius, when he gave the thumbs down to the fans and everything. And he started doing his whole breathing exercises and shit. He was like, yeah, no, Johnny Bryant showed him to my house. And then he basically was like, yo, pulled up, basically showed me video of all my actions and shit on the court and was like, do you want to play with that guy? Like, yeah, I get it. He's a young coach, but it's like when you hear the players talk, Johnny Bryant is the name that like comes up right away. Even when you hear Spider talk, he was like, yeah, I couldn't text him for the playoff series because, that's like my best friend. I talk to him and his wife like every day. He's like my second dad. Like,
Kenny, can I ask you a question?
I'm not mad at the Johnny Bryant because Ferg has been talking about him ad nauseum.
Listen, I didn't want to turn it into a 3-hour Zoom and say Johnny Bryant.
Yeah, he's the shadow coach.
But let me ask you.
He's one of the highest paid assistants in the league, though, right?
He's not even an assistant. He's an associate head coach. He's not listed as an assistant. Associate head coach. And the thing for me,
what is that?
If you think about the best coaches that we have in the league right now, what makes them what they are is the consistency and the longevity and the fact that the organization is backing them, right? And I think that what the Knicks are trying to do is build some sort of a culture where it's just like, listen, you don't come here and tell us how we play. This is how we're gonna play, and we need to know if you can do that. So I do believe when Tibbs is done, they probably gonna let Tibbs ride out his contract, and they're probably gonna put him in the front office. And then maybe
I've said that a couple times too.
And then maybe give the job to Johnny Bryant. But then what you're doing is you're establishing a culture. Because think about where Eric Spoelstra started from, right? He started from the same position that Pat Riley started from. They were video guys. If you saw the Winning Time documentary, Pat Riley wasn't even a coach, bro. He was the video guy. And the thing is, the video guys, they're the ones that got to break that down for the coach. And then the coach then preaches that to the players. So my thing is, given that Johnny Bryant I think he's understated. So yeah, I don't disagree with that. And I think a lot of that has to do with the culture they're trying to build in New York. And maybe there's something to that.
Well, so you saying yours is Johnny Bryant. I'm gonna go. I'm not going completely left. It's something about this guy that just makes me feel like he would have success with the Knicks. My first pick immediately would be Mark Jackson, but since Mark Jackson was already mentioned, it's Kenny Atkinson. I think Kenny Atkinson could come in.
That was my second.
Kenny Atkinson could come in, and I think he could do wonders with this team. I think he would command respect from the players. I think he knows how to talk to the youth. And his body of work, which is a short period of time, has shown he knows what to do with
Yeah, he
players.
develops players. He develops guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I would take Kenny Atkinson. That would be
I
my
like
pick.
that. I
I'm
like
not mad
that.
at
That would
that.
be
That's my second.
so let's go to the final topic for this early afternoon. And I'm interested. Let's see if we can run through this because I'm interested to hear what everybody's picks are gonna be. So give your all-time starting five, Knicks starting five. Let's start with Get the Man. I want to start with KC. Let's see what KC got for us. Your all-time starting five.
All right, so at the point, of course, I got Clyde.
Okay.
I don't see anybody else. At the two, he's my favorite player, so I'm not picking. He's my favorite Knick all time, so I'm picking Starks.
Okay.
I go Starks to the two. Three, no brainer, Melo, of course.
Okay.
Four was a little bit tricky for me because I loved that one great season that Stat had here, but just being a diehard Knick, I'm about to go Oakley, and of course, Pat at the five.
I had Pat.
An honorable mention to my man Chris Childs for simply giving Kobe that two-piece, but that's what
Chris Childs just for the two-piece. So let me just
two-piece. It was a crown fried two-piece.
It was listen, it was extra crispy. That's all I'm gonna say. It was extra crispy.
Facts.
All right. So his starting five is Clyde, Johnny Starks, my guy, Melo, Melo, Oakley, and Patrick. All right.
I thought it was Kennedy.
All right. What you got for me, Kenny? Come on, talk to me.
I don't know. I truly don't know because it's like I'm younger than everybody. I'm younger than everybody. So it's like I can't say Clyde because it's like I know Clyde, but I know Clyde because he rhymes and he dresses nice. It's like,
oh man.
I've never seen Clyde play. I wasn't born. I was alive. Like,
listen, bro, you got YouTube. You can watch highlights. Come on, dog.
Yeah, but I have a whole thing with the whole you could go back and watch how they're playing against a bunch of small white people.
Oh,
y'all kill me with that.
They were no Clyde. I've seen highlights. I'm not gonna discredit Clyde. Clyde is top 75. But again, when they were playing against dudes in the 70s, they were literally small white people. I've had people tell me about before I got to my new company where everybody's much younger. I used to argue the older dudes, and he's like, well, yeah, Havlicek and Bob Cousy, and I was like, dude, dudes are running around doing a little crab dribble. They're getting cooked by someone who's they're gonna 67 dribbles between the leg hesitation. He's getting past them every single time. I get it, but it's a different game. I should say Mark because of the assists, but because of this season and I've gone so hard for him because I'm about to go all out because I've gone so hard for him because I literally I've gotten into full-blown wars for Jalen Brunson this year, screaming in people's faces but nah, you said he was overpaid. I call there's a thing on Knicks Twitter, we call him Jalen Iverson because I'm just no, he's gonna get the ball, he's gonna torch this man. I care about nothing but watching him torch this man so I'd either go Marker or Jalen just because I've gone harder for Jalen than I think I've gone for my favorite player, which I'm not gonna name because I'm not gonna name him. Two, again, younger than everybody. I'd probably go either Houston or Sprewell.
Okay.
Three, Melo.
Okay.
Four, I don't know. Because I don't know what Amari was because of his knees. Again, I probably just have to go 90s Knicks. So it would be either LJ, probably LJ, because it's fuck Charles Oakley for life, and then Pat.
Okay. So let me go over. It's Brunson, Sprewell.
Brunson or Mark. I love Brunson.
No, you got to pick, brother.
Nah. Listen,
you got to pick.
I think Ernest just jumped off the bridge behind him.
Because
that water.
But that's the thing.
I'm looking at that water. It's cold to me.
I know it should be Mark, but I've never defended a player this season as much as I probably defended Jalen. That's the only reason why. Like, I defended the fuck out of Jalen this year. Like, I mean, I've got into full-blown, like, arguments with people for, like, hours over Jalen this year.
So you taking Jalen over Mark then?
Yeah, you got to pick one.
You got to pick one,
Your
brother.
commitment, man. Kennedy or Crown Fried, what you doing?
Yeah.
I'll go Jalen because of the culture shift and my screaming at people.
Okay. So it's Jalen, it's Houston or Sprewell? Which one is it?
I'll go Houston.
Okay, so Jalen, Houston, Melo at the 3, the 4 is LJ, and the 5 is who?
Pat.
Okay,
Pat.
so
it's always Pat.
Oh, it's always Pat. All right. So we don't even. Can I just say? Let's get this out the way. We could all consistently say Pat is the 5.
Yes, it's always Pat.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So Mr. Bell, let's give us your starting 4 then.
Exactly.
Pat is 5.
Exactly.
It's the 5.
Exactly. So we already put you in at the 5. So I'm gonna start with my forwards. Okay.
Okay.
So even though I love Melo, I'm not putting Melo at the 3. I'm putting him at the 4.
Okay.
Okay.
And I gotta bring probably still to this day the most dominant Knick to play for the Knicks, which is Bernard King. He got to be at the 3. He got to be at the 3. There's no way Bernard can't be there. I don't even understand why Randall is wearing his number. That's still don't I'm a slash Dolan's tires one day, but I'm sorry. There's no reason why 30 is ever worn by any Knick ever again. So those are my forwards. And then at my guards, I gotta go old school. Because I love Mark and Houston, and there's been no guard to touch Walt. He just hasn't. And Walt, and just talking facts, those rings are from Walt, and there's still no rings since then. So I gotta give love to the tradition who started it, Walt, and of course, you need pizzazz, you need the star, and you can't go no better than Black Jesus, of course, Earl Monroe at the 2, and just have those 2 starting, have Melo and King. You can't say you don't got enough offense. There's no way you don't have enough offense. And if you bringing the ball up against Walt and Earl, they are taking your cookies, your pocket, your cake, and your girl at the same time. There's no reason to even get on the court with them 2. So that's my starting 5.
All right.
And I put them in the Knicks jersey with the Apple shorts on the side, for the old school.
Yeah,
make it official. So what we got, Ferg? Talk to me, Ferg. What we got?
With the number on the top and the Knicks on the bottom with the number on the top. You remember those jerseys?
Ernest is a man after my own heart, man. Pause. But here's what I will say. When you told me this question, D, there was only one jacket I knew that I was gonna put on. All right, just so you can see, it's the old logo, and just so you can see what that say right there. NBA champs 1973.
There you go.
So, my starting 5 is Walt at the 1, Monroe at the 2, Bernard at the 3, Willis at the 4, Pat at the 5.
Okay.
Wow.
Say no more.
Okay.
Say no more.
I don't gotta explain that. I think we good right there.
I'm not mad at that.
I ain't mad at that, and I think that's official. I'm gonna go a little different, but kind of the same, right?
Don't you pick Toby Knight?
Huh?
Don't you pick Toby Knight in the Animal Banister?
I don't even know who that is, brother. So
that's why I'm nervous.
Nah, D gonna be like, listen, I want to make a case for Kiki Vandeweghe.
Exactly. I'll be like, nah, my 3 is Steve Novak. Nah, but
Danilo Gallinari.
Love Steve Novak.
The championship belt, brother. But no, my since Patrick is the 5, it's very easy. I kind of went a little bit. You're right, Mr. Bell. but a little different. I went Mark at the 1 with Clyde at the 2, right?
Ooh.
Okay.
And then I went Bernard at the 3 with Melo at the 4.
Ooh.
That's how I went. So that's my starting 5 with Patrick at the 5.
I'm not mad at the swapping Melo and Bernard.
Kenny,
I'm
you
not mad
got
at that.
Jeremy Lin coming off the bench?
Hell no. That was
What?
2 weeks. I said hell
Kenny
no.
got
Jeremy
Jeremy
Lin?
Lin coming off the bench?
Hell no.
Who's your sixth man though? Who's your
I'm
sixth
Yo,
man?
listen, Kenny, I
younger
don't
than-
want to make you feel bad because in my group
I'm younger
chat,
than everyone.
they've been killing me all season because I said Brunson was overpaid, right? They was killing me. They've been killing me. They're gonna continue to kill me. And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say it here for all the ladies and gentlemen that's gonna watch this, and for all my Knicks fans right here. If Jalen Brunson turns out, because he can easily turn out to be Chris Childs. People don't, that was my comparison. I said he had one good season on another team. We gave him the bag, right? Now he has a good season. It was I couldn't even imagine him having this type of season. But my thing is, for the bag we gave him, he got to do this for the rest of his contract. If he does not,
Oh, he's gonna get better.
Yeah, but what you also got to realize too is where his contract ranks versus his production. Because the guys that are
contract.
Even if he regresses next year,
it's a descending
given
deal.
what some of these guys are getting paid. I mean, think about it this way, right? Just for Emmanuel Quickley's contract, they're talking about 4 years, 80, 4 years, 75. That's Evan Fournier money. Wouldn't you pay Quickly Evan Fournier's money?
Yes.
So that's my point. So if Jalen is getting under 30 million and you got guys like Chris Paul that were making 40, Damian Lillard is about to be making 50, how bad is the contract even if he regresses? That's what I'm trying to tell you. We got to take advantage of these 2 years where he's like basement deal.
If he regresses, it's not even a bad contract because it's a descending contract, meaning he made the most of the money he's going to make in the contract this year, where he literally torched everyone.
He can literally regress and stay on pace.
He's making less money now than he was this year.
I'm talking about overall. Don't try to give him the pass.
No, Darnay, but here's the thing though. Here's the thing though about Jalen though. Jalen came from Villanova, Big East, every day. So he was battling other guards because they was coming after Villanova. Villanova was ranked like in the top 5 like the whole year basically. And then he went and won a chip as the star. And he won the chip playing off the bench. I'm trying to think who was starting. I think now I'm just asking. Because I think they won 2 chips for him, right?
They won 2. And I remember Hart, DiVincenzo, and Brunson were on the team. Archie Diacono was on that team. Jenkins was on that team.
Right.
So I can't remember if Jalen.
So what I'm saying is he's been a role player and he's been a star. Because he was a starter of that team. So now you bring him here, and he was in Dallas, and he was a role player, and they all said to him, man, the one they missed was him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's bringing something. I don't know if he's bringing enough that he could be the number 1 to lead you somewhere, but he's definitely like when they brought Amari, and it was like, yo, was Amari the one or Melo the one? They really be the one that was the one, but you could see where they could be a brick to the house. So
but that's why I also don't mind Brunson, because Brunson showed this year, like, hey, if I need to be, I'm gonna go get this bucket. We're losing it. Calm down. I got it. I'm gonna bring this home.
Yeah,
but then he also played alongside Luka, where he was like, I got this. Like I watched him last year say, yo, no Luka, Devin Booker, here's 40.
Facts.
Listen, the guy's amazing, and at the current contract and at his current pace,
top 5 guard in the East right now.
It's a great deal. It's a great deal. Great deal. But let's see what we can do starting by next week, because it will officially start next week. If we do not unload as many picks as possible and a player or two for either a guy we want or to move up in this draft, we gonna be that's a sign of where this is headed for the New York Knicks, and we probably gonna have the same freaking team going into next season. I will say that. As much as I trust the front office, I'm almost positive if nothing is done before or on draft day, I don't think any major moves is going to be made.
They're gonna make a move.
Yeah, but you know what, KC? Let me tell you. I think again with the CBA the way it is, teams like Chicago, now that Jordan just sold. There's a lot of teams that are gonna have high salary players that won't necessarily be able to even keep up in their conferences, that are gonna be looking to dump those kind of contracts. So you might have to wait it out. So I don't necessarily agree, D, that it has to happen before the draft. It could happen after the draft, because that new luxury tax thing is no joke. And if there's one thing we know about Jerry Reinsdorf in Chicago, he don't like paying people. And one thing he don't like is paying taxes. And Chicago ain't going nowhere with that Lonzo Ball contract they still got on there. We don't even know if Lonzo Ball gonna play. And then you still gotta pay Vucevic, you still gotta pay DeRozan, you still gotta pay Levine. It's teams like that. Teams like Washington with Beal, teams like Portland with Dame, where they're not necessarily good enough to do much, but they don't want to pay the luxury tax. So
I'm praying they don't touch that Bill situation.
Oh, man, I'm with you. I don't want that either.
No, I don't. What about Clarkson in Utah?
That's another one. Utah can. Don't forget him. What about marketing?
I think they're gonna keep. It's Utah. They're gonna keep the white boy.
I think they would keep marketing. They would probably go for.
Brady Bunch, Grady Afro. Gonna keep him.
He's a CAA, and Leon also has a preference for anybody that's CAA. So.
Yeah, we were talking about that too, D.
Yeah, if you're a client, if you're CAA,
I don't like how Kenny is channeling his inner Ferg in this damn meeting.
But it's the truth. Everyone that you look at, it's
every GM needs an assistant.
Every time I have a conversation with Ferg, he's saying the same shit this nigga Kenny said. I'm like, who gives a fuck if he's CAA?
But it's something that I've learned in my young bits of life. It's who you know and networking. So it's like moving up the corporate ladder. It's a lot of like who you know, and I know this guy. That's how all the Jewish companies in America work. It's like, hey, I know this guy, or like it's all personable relationships. So it's like that's why Embiid's name is out there, because his relationship with West. That's why a lot of names you see out there, it's like CA. You don't see any clutch people out there like that.
Nah.
Because
and the unfortunate part is, if there's one thing that I will give Phil Jackson credit for, is that he mentioned that when he first got here, that he didn't like the heavy influence of CAA at the Garden at the time. Now, that doesn't excuse the bullshit job that he did for the $60 million that we paid him. But
so for life.
When he mentioned it back then, it was an afterthought. But now when you look at a lot of the moves that we've made since then, very CAA heavy.
We need to come up with a list of possible targets that's just CAA players.
That's why I told you.
Kuzma, that's why that name's out there.
Yeah.
It's either Kuzma or Clarkson, like they'll CAA. It's either that or someone who has a relationship with Wes.
And you know who's partly responsible?
That's everybody. That's everybody.
You know who's partly responsible for all of this? LeBron James and Rich Paul with clutch.
Why are they responsible? Because they got so many clients?
How?
The reason why they're partly responsible is because...
How?
Because if you look at the people that Rich Paul is representing, a lot of LeBron's boys, man. Rich Paul is one of LeBron's main... Huh?
Wait, Ferg. So answer this. What do them having to do? Because Clutch Sports is Rich Paul, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but don't forget,
So my
LeBron.
question is, what does that have to do with them not messing with CAA, like people that's, you get what I'm saying? Why can't they, so for instance, this is a better understanding for me. So you're saying that everybody that's on the Lakers is Clutch Sports?
I wouldn't say everybody on Lakers is Clutch Sports. What I would say is that there have been a lot of grumblings and a lot of hearsay, even to the point where LeBron was investigated for, because they thought he was part owner of Clutch Sports, because a lot of the moves that they were making were the type of moves that would make it, it's almost as if it's like LeBron was acting as an agent at some point. And don't forget, when LeBron was putting his super teams together, Rich Paul's right there. You know, so
and
now
there was a
they
lot
investigated it and they found nothing. But there's a reason why LeBron's never considered New York. Ever considered New York.
And a lot of the people that he got when he was getting those super teams, it's like he gets them, and then next you know, end of that season, they parted ways with their agency, and then they signed
straight to Clutch. Yep.
Yeah. So look, it's kind of like the way.
God damn you, LeBron.
Yeah, the way the league is split up right now, it's literally it's CAA and it's Clutch Sports. Those are the main agencies right now.
And the Knicks are CAA Mafia. CAA Mafia is the front. The Knicks are front office.
They've politicized the league, and if you see the way the owners responded with this CBA, there's a reason why Draymond Green was upset, because they've taken away your ability to just dump bullshit contracts to build a super team. You can't go from 0 to 100 in one season by just dumping all your bad contracts and bringing in max guys and building a one and done team. You can't do that.
I have a quick question on our way out, and it's actually Nick related only in the sense that if this person became available, I just want to know, would he be someone you guys would entertain, right? With Jordan selling the team, Miles Bridges, right? They have Lonzo's getting his money. Bridges signed the contract, I believe. Gordon Hayward is also another guy making money, and then Kelly Oubre is the other guy. PJ Washington is up for a contract. So my question is, if Miles Bridges became available somehow, is that somebody any of you guys would be interested?
If I'm not mistaken, his contract extension before he went away was like 164 million. And given his stature right now, he's not going to be commanding a whole lot.
Anything.
But you would still have to clear room to bring him on because you don't have space.
No, I know that, but I'm saying the same scenario. Like if we had to trade or whatever, is that a guy you think you would consider? Because especially with the selling of the team, they may start purging.
Oh no, that's why I told you. I see them as one of those teams where the new ownership comes in. They want a clean house. They don't want to pay luxury tax. Yeah, they're gonna do a fire sale. Yeah. I would do it. I would do it. Think about it. He would be similar to when we acquired Sprewell, when everybody was just like, nah, I don't want to do that. Chokes his coach. He's a bad da-da-da-da. Okay. If he's getting buckets, he could choke Jeff Van Gundy all he wants. I don't give a shit. Guys getting buckets. So with Bridges, as long as you insulate him, you keep him out of trouble, he can defend. He can score. He's a high flyer. He's got energy. Look, if you can keep him out of trouble and he can keep his hands off his wife, bring him on.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate it. I have a problem with the dudes that be troublemakers because there's a lot of like the thing about New York is like if you're on the Knicks and like you be out here, like they take care of you, like the fans would just be like, oh, that's who he is, and then they just kind of like let you do your own thing. But I also need niggas to not be getting into shit because I don't need like Clay Anthony or these situations where like this nigga's getting shot in the club and shit. He was supposed to be the next one, and then he got shot.
Yeah, Phil Jackson.
I need
that one too, man.
I need people who are focused, or I need people who are gonna magically get focused because they hate their organization and don't be focused when they're on their team.
Yeah.
winking at a certain draft pick who has an injury problem that I think he would totally get under. He would get that
Listen,
fixed. Just change the scenery.
Just like Charles Barkley said, if you trade him, he's playing. Remember when when they were talking about James Harden playing for the All-Star team, and then LeBron was just like, "Nah, Harden's injured." He's like, "Nah." Barkley's like, "Nah, he got traded. He's ready to play right now." Zion would go to Starlet's. All right, he would get a crazy rejuvenation massage, and he'd be ready for the offseason.
Rejuvenation massage.
Zion technically played more games.
So you would chance Zion? You would chance Zion? Yes or no?
Zion has technically played more games than Embiid in the same number of years.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. Yes, he has. And that's with 3 baby mamas.
As much as like I always kill him because he plays only 28 games a season, if his biggest issue is porn stars and a diet.
But listen, somebody I was watching a podcast the other day, and they mentioned injury history and guys in New Orleans. They said that Brandon Ingram missed 30 games with a stub toe. Anthony Davis missed a whole bunch of games that were questionable. And Zion never tore the hamstring. It was just a sore hamstring.
Yeah.
So, what the problem with that is? It's also due to the fact that New Orleans, everyone who's ever played has always been hurt. From like Tyreek Evans, all of that. And that's because it's only been recently that they just got like their own medical staff, because the people that bought the Pelicans from the league, they own the Saints, and they were using the same medical staff for
football players.
New Orleans Saints, for football players and basketball players. So that's why the players are always hurt.
Yeah, because they're training the wrong way.
They're crazy.
They're training for the wrong sport.
Even when you look back at like people like Baron Davis, he'll be like, as much as I didn't do much in New York, he's like, I thank him for getting me back on track, because he was like, my back's fucked up, knees is fucked up. He's like, medical staff, they got me. Pelicans, they recently just got a medical staff for basketball players because they were sharing the same medical team between two different sports. And football injuries and basketball injuries are not the same.
And the thing is, imagine a dude could tear his ACL in football and come back next season and still get 1,000 yards rushing, right? And the NBA, because there's a lot more, you're not dunking in the NFL. So you don't need your ACL to do all that much in the NFL. So imagine the problem when you got guys like Anthony Davis. There's a very good chance New Orleans broke Anthony Davis.
Like, look at the list of players that have played for the Pelicans, and look how many of them have like injury problems.
Yes, it's a thing. I didn't start looking into it until I saw this recent podcast, and I'm like, oh shit, there's a good chance Luke could get traded and then become healthy
Zion,
as he was supposed to be.
Ingram.
So all y'all basically saying is we don't want Zion. We should not take Zion because he's already.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Wait, if you're gonna take Zion, you need a veteran player, or you need a Taj Gibson, somebody that's gonna be like, yo, come here. Like, that he's gonna look at like, all right, because you can't, and I don't see anybody. I mean, maybe Derek can be that dude, but you gotta have somebody who's that veteran, like I can be honest, like, come here.
We've had like Derek can be that guy. I know he's young, but like that's why like a part of the reason why like I fought with Brunson is because it's like it's just like, this is on me. Like he's mature. He's
Marcus Morris.
And I also think when a player is where he wants to be, things change.
Yeah.
Like Zion
he's already been here. He shared the lights. He's a veteran at this point. And when Randall's acting up, he'll get in Randall's ass because he'll punch him in his face. And he could come in. He could come in and drop buckets.
Who are you talking about? Morris or Zion?
Yeah, no, Marcus Morris.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you right now, that Zion deal would send Randall to New Orleans.
Oh yeah, he would go right back to New Orleans because he was there before.
But this goes to what I was telling you. It's that move that either pushes you over to the top or it'll put you in the cellar. That's the biggest gamble the Knicks can make.
Wait, listen. So let me tell you the only reason why I'm okay with that deal, if we decided to even entertain it, is because we get younger and better production. So even when Zion's healthy, his production is way better.
Through the roof.
It's through the roof.
Julius
And we literally have a bunch of guys who are all on the same timeline. You've got a bunch of 26, 22, and 24-year-olds with a couple veterans on the team. Like I said, if his biggest issue is porn stars and a diet, get him a diet. New York, you can eat at a different restaurant every single day and not even the same restaurant. There's plenty of healthy vegan options out here. Get him some Indian food. Take him down to the Lower East Side. Get him some good food.
Ern, you
gonna have to be off the Dykeman.
You gonna have to be his nutritionist, Ern.
Dude, here's the scary thing though, because remember, you in New Orleans, the media compared to New York is totally different. And now that you have let all the hoes know, and you let everybody else know that you love the hoes, you gonna be like, it gonna treat you like ludicrous.
But that's fine.
Every area code for everywhere you go. You can't go to French. You can't go to C-Town without everybody in your face waiting to see, because they gonna be out for him. If you think they out now,
but
you
that's
can't.
Oh, everyone knows James Harden loves hoes. Once they know, like that's it, it's out. So he go down Starlets, have a couple bartenders chill around him, and it's just like, yo, Zion here. And then that's it. He get him the best nutritionist in New York.
Rejuvenation massage.
Listen, if he really has an issue, he go down to Koreatown, he go on the back. Like there's all kind of things.
Get a happy ending. Go get a happy ending, Zion.
If his biggest issue is a diet and porn stars, it's fixable.
Put it this way. Y'all remember what Dallas Strawberry was doing in the dugout during the games, right? Get him somebody at halftime. Get him a hot dog and somebody at halftime.
If Doc Rivers can allow James Harden to go to Vegas and shit for the playoffs, and Phil let Dennis go sniff crack, go wrestle, and then come to practice, cool, whatever. If that's what you got to do to be who you need to be, cool. We got this Koreatown. You go get your happy ending. You can go to Dykeman. You can go to Starlets. Queens is amazing. If your biggest issue is a diet and porn stars, it's fixable.
Wait. So let's get back on track because I'm gonna end the show. After this, and I really want your opinion on this since we're talking about it. Zion and Valanciunas for Mitch and Randall, yay or nay?
Yes.
Oh, in a heartbeat. The ones will never do it, but in a heartbeat, yeah.
I'm doing it.
Yeah, I'll do it too. I don't even care if we got to send them picks as well and another player. I'll do that in a heartbeat.
Hell yes.
Send the picks.
Was Josh Hart on that team?
If you want to make it an even bigger deal, try to see if you can finagle to get McCollum over here as well.
No, you're doing too much now.
I don't want to be another team that's just in a different location. I hate when teams just basically get the same players back together.
But Valanciunas will be a legit replacement for Mitch. He defensive rebounds. He has an offensive game. He would be a bucket. He's a taller, better Hartenstein. That's what Valanciunas is.
I don't mind that.
If you really want to go against Denver, you need a monster for that boy.
I like it. And Valanciunas is a rebounder too. He's a beast on the board. He's a better option than Vucevic. So if you do that, and like I said before, you got to break Randall and Barrett up.
I think he's a cheaper option as well.
You got to break Randall and Barrett up. So if you're going to break up Randall and you got to send Mitch with him, that's the deal you make. That's the deal you make. I love it 1,000%. Send the picks over there. If you got to put in Fournier to make the money work, do that. They could just waive Fournier. Whatever draft picks we got to send over there, get it done. I'm with you on that one. I like it.
With that being said, New Orleans, hook a brother up. Come on, man. Just send them over here, man. Come on, man.
I don't see them doing that unless they get the high pick. That's the only way I see them.
But that's what I'm saying. If we send them a bunch of picks, they could package something else after we make the deal. Take these picks, Fournier, Randall, Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? Even if we had to include Toppin somehow, I don't give a fuck. Make that happen.
Obi's out of here.
Here's the deal. You also got to remember, there's teams. Okay, the Nuggets are still relatively young because they 2 stars up in their prime. So you got to deal with them. You got to deal with Sacramento coming behind them, and there's always that dark horse team, and they quiet, and they still got picks. That freaking Thunder team, if they don't mess it up, it's going to be a problem.
Especially
I gotta see
when Chet comes back. Yeah,
I gotta see what they look like. I gotta see.
They was playing without Chet.
Yeah, but see again, the one thing that I gotta keep referring to is that CBA. Some of these teams that got the best talent, the best young talent,
all of them are young.
They young. They're not gonna be
only one is SGA.
But first, they don't got to worry about paying nobody. All these guys is under the rookie contract.
The only one that got to pay is SGA.
I know that, and SGA already got his money, right?
Exactly. So they don't got to pay nobody, bro.
Nobody.
I know that, but my thing is, like for example, a team like the Knicks. The reason why we're in prime position is we're able to. Because here's what these guys are going to want to do. They're going to want to swap out the big contract for draft picks. They don't necessarily care about money coming back. So a team that has expiring money and draft picks is a perfect trade partner for a team like a New Orleans.
Look, Ferg, let me chop you down for a second. You've been saying this for a minute, man. But you know what the reality is, though, bro? Even though we're supposed to be allegedly, I'm gonna use the quote, allegedly in prime position for everything you just said, nobody fucks with us, bro. So we always gotta overpay and get taxed in order to even make a regular deal. With this new CBA,
I think what Ferg trying to say with the CBA coming, that more teams are going to be open to do it.
So that's because you're not wrong. People don't fuck with us. But Brunson's the difference changing where because people fuck with Brunson. People were willing to go play with him. For the past few years, the league has been fuck it, make the trade, we'll figure the money out later. With the CBA, it's gonna be we can't do that no more.
The point that I'm trying to make is because you have Brock Aller and you basically got the league's best capologist, right? The Knicks are now in a position where she's like, all right, you didn't want to fuck with me before because you felt good about yourself. Now the rules have changed. And we've been building our organization based upon what we knew was coming. Now, y'all got a whole bunch of niggas on y'all team that y'all really can't afford. Because that $50 million contract is really going to cost you $100 million now.
Because there's a lot of teams in cap.
Not every owner in the league has James Dolan's money. So what the point I'm trying to make is there's a redistribution of wealth that's happening in the NBA right now, where teams that can afford to pay are going to stay relevant, and teams that don't want to, why do you think Mark Cuban is shaking in his boots right now? There's a good chance he loses both Luka and Kyrie, right?
I got another one for you. Why you think Jordan sold the team now?
He know he ain't gonna be able to pay these guys.
Jordan sold the team. Jordan
trying to go into that Nike pocket.
The people from the Bucks sold their team. Bob Myers ain't renewed. Bob Myers ain't renewed that contract because he's just like, yo,
he don't want to deal with that problem.
This shit fucked up.
Guess what? You want to know what Bob Myers is dealing with right now? I shouldn't have gave Jordan Poole that money because now we probably can't hold on to Draymond.
Their books is all fucked up.
And Bob Myers doesn't want to be around for the downfall because Golden State cannot keep that going because the league is going to shut that down. The way LeBron has been putting teams together, they getting ready to shut that all down.
The new CBA is basically LeBron, anti-LeBron, anti-Warriors.
Yes, it is because now you have to. It's basically they've changed it to where you can have a new champion every year. They've made it a hard cap like the NFL. That's what they did.
So what's more likely? If we're talking basketball, what's more likely that Steph leaves Golden State or that they purge the entire Golden State Warriors to bring Steph one other player?
They would purge it before they let Steph go.
They're going to purge it before they let him go. I agree with Kenny.
Steph is getting older and getting better. The only thing stopping Steph is injuries.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, because I keep seeing how like LeBron and Steph want to play with each other, blah blah blah. But in order for that to happen, LeBron would have to go to State. Steph can't go to the Lakers unless it's going to be for Anthony Davis. It's the only way the money can match up, correct?
And here's the thing. Not only that, think about how much money Steph is about to get paid. So you're talking about two players that's at 50 million each plus. How are you going to even field the team? So this is the point I'm trying to make. This is why the Knicks have 2 years to get it. Because once Brunson's deal is over and you got to pay him. You got to pay him 40 minimum.
Like the reason why the Warriors were even able to get to how they were is because they took that friendly deal because he had glass ankles and they didn't know what he was going to be. And then they was able to basically pay everybody. Where it was like we could just pay out the ass. And we basically have 1 billion people on our team.
So D, my point is that it's not that people are gonna want to fuck with the Knicks now.
They ain't gonna have to.
They don't have a choice now.
Because also looking at it, you have to factor in the play-in tournament because the play-in tournament kind of just made everybody feel like we got a chance. And then what the league did this year with like letting the niggas who was in the play-in like get far in the postseason, it's like, yo, good contracts, some good players. Everybody's got a chance, even if you in the play-in, you can still get here. So it's like, now you got to choose.
That's why the Heat situation is interesting in itself because they had so many players that's going to be coming over. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy offseason, like I said, to start the show. It's going to be a crazy offseason. I'm excited to see what's going to happen for us with the Knicks. I'm praying we make the right decisions. Basketball gods, y'all look like y'all trying to get it correct. They'll put us in the second round. Just keep it going. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you. Amen to that. Amen to that. Listen, at least we don't have to worry about Isaiah Thomas giving Jerome James the whole mid-level exception.
Go there.
We ain't got to worry about shit like that.
Yeah.
You go there.
Listen. We on the new Knick regime. Let's not bring up the ghost of
bro. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We gotta have faith. We can't.
I have faith. I have faith. I just don't want us to jump on a bandwagon with any particular star and feel like that's why the thing that's going to get us over the hump. I want us to make the right move. I want
to know Mr. McMahon is still there, Dolan. He's like Mr. McMahon in the WWE. All of a sudden, the story switched to him real quick, and you ain't even watch who's in the ring no more. You worried about him. So
but he's been chilling. He's been chilling though.
He's been chilling. He shut up.
Credit. He has taken. He even took a back seat when it was Phil too. He let Phil destroy the whole thing.
He was fussing with Spike Lee about a back door.
Listen, I don't care.
Taking Oakley out. He was too busy doing other shit.
Listen, with the stuff that Oakley been saying about Patrick lately, I'd have kicked Oakley out too.
You know, it's Charles Oakley for life.
Oh hell yeah!
Don't get me wrong.
He always been straight up though. But Oakley was, Oakley was like, "Yo, Knicks forever." Like, and they was playing like he was like, "Yo, y'all playing like bums." Like, come on, Oakley's always been true.
My thing with Oakley is this. Yeah, you probably right, bro. But you don't got leverage. You right. You got a point. But don't nobody care because you don't have leverage. What you gonna do? Fire James Dolan?
Everybody, listen. Everybody cares because Oakley is a New York great, and that's what matters. And because the fans matter like us. On that note, guys, this is another episode of Straight from the Motherfucking Block. This is the Knicks edition. Thank you, fellas, for coming on. This will be up ASAPito. You should see it in a day or two. I ain't even got to break this down. This is so lovely. I could just have it play through. Let's see if we could get everybody to watch almost an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of us talking about the Knicks.
Wait, you got to edit the part out when Ernest jumped off the bridge, though. You got to take that out.
No. You got to keep that. We got to keep that because that's every Knicks fan ever. We almost killed ourselves at least 3 times in the history of being Knicks fans. Okay?
Nah, I've
We
never done that.
all been out the bridge. Like, I can't take it no more. I swear,
Nah,
just don't get it right.
I never did that. I tell people all the time that what happens is that I've been a Knicks fan for so long that they can't hurt me anymore.
You know what? You probably got a point. If dudes didn't have to pay toll to get on a GWB, they probably would have did it already.
You're
Yeah. That's the safe part of it. Is the toll.
Yeah,
They
you're
can't,
right.
they can't hurt me anymore.
And we've taken the worst pain that the New York Knicks could dish out, and we still here. I don't think it can get any worse.
I watched the 17-win season.
Mm.
You can't hurt me. I watched them pay Andrea Bargnani. You can't hurt me. Like, I'm fine. Like, nothing phases me.
Dude, you can't say nothing until you see Ken the Animal Bannister and who was it?
Trent Tucker.
Rory Sparrow.
Rory Sparrow, Michael Ray Richardson.
Well, Sugar Ray was. You talking about before the Coke or after? It's two different.
That's a great question because, man, that's a great question. Because see,
Sugar Ray was no joke.
I'm a big YouTube guy, and before the Coke, yeah. After the Coke,
look.
Ray Williams.
Cocaine a hell of a drug. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. I'm saying. Okay,
yeah,
all right.
I remember kicking them niggas' couch.
Darkness. We're gonna leave it. We'll leave it on this though. I'm gonna leave with a one time for your mind, one good rant, and then we out.
A rant by each one of us?
No, what this rant right here. Listen.
Oh, okay.
I was about to say, it will be another hour if I go on a rant.
I'm gonna leave on that. That's my favorite guy on TikTok. That nigga be going in with my man Steph Foulious. Oh man, that's the greatest. That's the greatest nickname to ever come out of New York. Steph Foulious Carrandall will go down in history. I promise you. The worst 3-point shooting power forward ever. On that note, this is another episode of Straight for the Block. Ferg, Casey, Ernest, Kenny, I appreciate y'all. Until next time, peace.
All right.
All right, y'all.